everything changed in the relationship between the national media and the presidential campaigns after 2020, after 2000 rather. Because what people learned in 2000 was you had to spin the results. You couldn't just say, hey, our boiler room says we're going to win Florida. The AP and NBC called Florida for us. We win. You can't do it that way anymore, because who has the perception of winning a state matters, because victory is 9/10 of the law. And so now both campaigns are very aggressive about not just sharing, hey, they're not going to want to show weakness. They're not going to want to say things aren't looking good in Wisconsin. I'm not accusing them of lying, but they're going to lean into the positive narrative of, hey, we're going to win Wisconsin. Because if they say to reporters, things aren't looking good in Wisconsin, it's more likely that a broadcast network or the Associated Press could project the other side as the winner. Because even though what they're looking at the raw vote, they're looking at the exit poll, they're looking at key precincts, and they're trying to project who wins the state. And the campaigns, again, off the legacy of 2000, are trying to stop them from projecting and sow doubt in their minds and say, you may be looking at the key precincts and the raw vote and the exit poll, and you may be inclined to project battleground state X for my opponent. Don't do it, because our boiler room says there's a bunch of vote out in Johnson County that's going to make the difference.
The exit polls, by the way, it's one thing, like when polls close and people are making projections, that's one whole issue that we can talk about later. But during the day, somewhere around 3, 4 o'clock, you're going to hear about exit polls. And that's where I think Mark is referencing the Drudge Report stuff.
It'll be later. It'll be later than that, because it's changed.
Well, but here's my point.
Just let me do the history. It used to be there was a wave of exit polls in the middle of the late afternoon. Because of 2000, it's all been pushed back until more like 6 o'clock, when you don't get projections, but you do get some crosstabs, and the networks irresponsibly lean into it and saying,
that's right.
It's going to be a long night for Donald Trump.
You're going to vote after the polls close, after dinner on the way home from work. Do not listen to the exit polls. Go vote. Exercise your responsibility as an American, but don't listen to the crap that comes out of the networks about exit polls until polls close. And then
I will say, as somebody at the Coakley Plaza in Boston in 2004, there was euphoria when those exit polls came out in 2004 that showed John Kerry winning everywhere. And
Bob Shrum called him Mr. President.
That dinner that night, people were literally talking about their jobs. And then when the actual votes came in, there was like an uh-oh.
So John King and Steve Kornacki are very good at taking their decision desk data and presenting it on the air. But the piece you want to look for, and that's why you want to join our coverage, you want to talk to people who are talking to the boiler rooms, because the boiler rooms, when they're being honest, they've got analytics the networks don't have, right? But the AP doesn't have.
This goes back to what we discussed yesterday. Look, a lot of these guys are going to be in a campaign in 4 years. And so at some point, they're going to be kind of straight, because they don't want to blow everything tonight. So they're not going to go on the record, but they'll say, hey, we're a little concerned, or here's what we're feeling. Like, they don't want to blow everything. So, I mean, that's why for those people who are out there saying, oh, they're going to tell you anything, some of them might, but it's like a lot of things. You're going to get a consensus. I talked to 3 or 4 people. 3 of them sounded concerned. One of them sounded, hype. You discard the highest. And it's like, what is it? It's like figure skating. You discard the highest and lowest.
You mean all Trump people?
No. Whenever you talk to a campaign, I think you're going to get some people who want to just are going to give you the cheeriest, and some people maybe who won't, but you throw out the highest and lowest score and take a bunch in the middle.
Right. So again, what we're looking for primarily is to see, can the vice president win a Sunbelt state? Can she win Georgia or North Carolina? If she doesn't, it doesn't mean she's lost. But if those states are won, if those states are projected for Trump, okay, and that could happen early, it could. If those states are projected for Trump, then we're going to assume that he's going to win Arizona. At that point, Nevada doesn't matter. We're just then tracking the 3 Rust Belt states, and those 3 Rust Belt states, they could go into overtime. They could fail to count tonight, but it's possible that one of the 3 of them counts quickly and goes for Trump, or it's possible that one of them goes quickly and goes for Harris. And then again, we'll just be waiting to see what happens with those 3.